So when it comes to the right way to access historical data, you ultimately have options. Now, this slide is really from the perspective of how eOne can help. We present a couple of different ways that don't require you to move that data into the new system. With our tools, you have, as you can see, a couple of different options where our tool Popdock can access that historical data, and then we can surface it right inside of Business Central when you need it. So these are a couple of the common ones that we see. One of them is if you are coming from an on-premise application, is continuing to maintain the SQL server that application is on. Now there are some maintenance and licensing considerations that come into play. Oftentimes we do see that people that are migrating to Business Central in the cloud, they don't want to continue maintaining that server, which then brings us to a couple of the other options below. You can move that data to an Azure SQL instance. Obviously, it would move that data off your on-premise database. There still would be some cost implications with regards to that. As you can see, the third one down there, Azure Data Lake. This is the approach we commonly see people do, as we have a tool, which I'll be highlighting in a little bit, that essentially can move your historical data from your on-premise system to a data lake. If you're not familiar with a data lake, it's really just cost-effective blob storage that sits in the cloud. As you can see, roughly 1 terabyte of data comes out to about $20 a month in terms of storage costs, so it's very cost-effective. Data lakes also can really hold any types of data, but we'll be talking about the type that we move using our tool here shortly. As you can see that point below there, we have a tool called our Popdock Data Lake Upload tool, which can migrate your historical data to a data lake, and then where you give you the ability to access that right inside of Business Central when you want to see it. The last point that I brought up here is using Azure Synapse. Now we use this in conjunction with our Azure Data Lake functionality, and this is really for scenarios where we're working with really, really large data sets. So you might have, a couple gigabyte list, and if you want to start joining that together with other lists of data, our Synapse option becomes a really effective way to optimize being able to access data for extremely large data sets. So I put that on there as an option, as that's another way that we can query that data and present it inside of Business Central that works in conjunction with our Azure Data Lakes. Now, you'll notice that these scenarios kind of assume that you're coming from an on-premise application. We do also see customers migrating to Business Central from another cloud-based system. So if you are someone that falls into that bucket, then we still have options for trying to evaluate the best approach. If you, I guess, do fall into that bucket, I would encourage you to contact our sales team, and we'd be happy to set up a call, and we can investigate what would be the best option for being able to access your historical data once you've moved to your new application. So where do our eOne tools fit in? So the two tools that we primarily use when we talk about historical data all kind of fall under our Popdock bucket. So one of them is our Popdock Data Lake Upload tool, which I'll provide a demo of here shortly. What it essentially does is it can archive on-premise historical data. You'll notice that there's a handful of different options that are built within the tool where we can move data from Dynamics GP, Dynamics SL, NAV, or really anything that's SQL based, can archive it to a data lake, and then we can surface that data using Popdock, which you see below there, right inside of Business Central. Popdock is the tool that allows us to query data from an Azure Data Lake. I'll talk a little bit more about what Popdock is in a little bit, but the concepts that I wanted to highlight is one called virtual integration. It's this idea of being able to display data from an application inside of another without having to move the data between the two. So when we talk about historical data and surfacing inside of Business Central, we're not actually moving all of that history into Business Central. As you can, as I mentioned, as in a previous slide, the complexity around that and the challenges, we're actually just querying the data from wherever it's sitting and giving you a live look right inside of Business Central. The other piece that Popdock provides is cross-app reporting. We have custom list capability that allows you to merge together and join together data pointing to two different places. So a really common scenario that we see in historical data conversations is people want to see a combined view or a merged view that's showing their historical data with ongoing data inside of Business Central, and that's something that Popdock can accomplish. I did also add a little bullet under there that it can handle data translations. As we had talked about in the challenges section, oftentimes in migration scenarios, you are taking this opportunity to reevaluate your processes, and there might be changes to some of the account structure going into your new system. So one common question that we get asked is, well, if you're using custom lists to combine or merge data together, what happens if the account structure for your GL accounts or your customers or your vendors change between the two systems? And that's something that Popdock can handle. So there's a couple of different approaches that we can take with regards to that, but it's a very common scenario that we see in these migration scenarios. And then the last piece that I wanted to point out is SmartConnect. Now, we don't use this as much in the context of your historical transaction level data. It's really used for master data, moving master data and opening balances like we had mentioned on that first slide into the new system, which still technically comes from a historical perspective. So I did want to add that on there. Is when it comes to migrations, if you look at it as a whole, eOne's tools can really handle all types of data in those migration scenarios.